droopy.
Welcome back to another episode of the Counterculture Podcast. I'm your host, Christian, along with my great friend and co-host, Taylor.
What's up?
And we're back again. So
we're back again. We've been taking little breaks. We've been
back again.
We both got a lot going on.
It's just summertime, and sometimes I'm like, look, I don't got anything good for us to talk about. I can't think of anything. And so we're just both like,
I feel like we've been doing good. So I feel like we're going on like 2 years, it feels like now or something, right? Didn't we start in August?
This will be, are we getting into,
didn't we start in August, right?
Yeah.
So,
well, this will be the third anniversary. How long have we been doing this?
I thought we'd only had it for, no, this is like year 2, isn't it?
Okay. Will this be full year 2? Yeah, I think you're right.
I think so. So, but my point is, I mean, we've been, other than big holidays like Christmas, things like Thanksgiving,
obvious,
we really don't, birth of a child, which we both went through that, we really don't take off too much, and we've been pretty much consistently giving y'all about a video a week for what feels like 2 years. It's not plugged in, got no power. But yeah, so just if we skip an occasional week here or there, it's because it's hard to have content, and we don't always want to do what's trending or what's in the news because a lot of it's just doom and gloom. But
yeah, and you know what we're gonna do today?
Trending topic.
So we're liars. Is what he's saying. We're liars.
Yeah. So everything I just said,
just throw it out the window. It doesn't matter.
Kobe. Oh no, sorry. I still make that.
Hey, R.I.P. Hey, it's all right. Hey, it's like a an honorable thing.
At least I didn't say crash and burn and then do a Kobe reference.
That's kind of sad. I watch Kobe TikToks for motivation.
Do you?
Yeah, I loved Kobe Bryant growing up. He was my favorite basketball player growing up.
See, I was never into sports like that, but I got to say, looking back and like a lot of the in memoriam kind of stuff with him, I realized he seemed like a pretty chill dude, like a humanitarian kind of different than like your LeBrons and your James Harden stuff. He seemed more like he liked to give back. I don't know.
Yeah, he was. Well, I think a lot of it is he was not.
He's very humble, I want to say.
Yeah, and he was very much from the school of Michael Jordan, where there was clear a lot of raw talent there, but they both had this just insatiable, insane work ethic of just all they knew was that no one was gonna outwork them. Like there's actually this one interview with this guy. I think his name is Jay Williams. He was in the NBA for a while, and he tells a story of
Kobe was there before and after he left. Or something?
Yeah, you've seen it. Yeah, a lot of people have seen that because like Kobe Bryant, and it's one of my favorite stories because he comes in, right. He's gonna work out. He sees Kobe there, and Kobe had always been working out for a long time, but then this guy has been worked out for an hour and a half himself, and Kobe Bryant was still working out afterwards, and he's like, dude, what's wrong with this guy? And then that night when they played the game, Kobe drops 40 points on him, and he walks up to him and is like, why were you in the gym for so long? He's like, because I saw you come in, and I wanted you to know that you can work hard, but you'll never work as hard as I am. And I love that video because I'm just like, that's amazing to me.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
And I mean, you could look at it, you could almost say like it was in spite, but no, he knew. It's like, okay, now somebody's here, and now I have to go even further.
Mm-hmm.
Always
I have to do more.
Yeah.
Because he's here, so I need to pick it up. So yeah, it wasn't a spite thing. To your point, It's like I need to do better because someone else is coming for me almost. You know what I mean? So, yeah, Kobe, R.I.P. It still makes me very sad that he passed away. Because not only that, did you know actually Kobe was Catholic?
Really?
Yeah, fun fact. And actually, as far as I'm aware, apparently he actually had gone to mass that morning before he passed away, supposedly as well. So
man.
But
at least he was devout, so hopefully he's in a better place.
I
don't know him, and
I don't know
for his life.
He had I think 3 daughters, right, married for a long time.
But one was with him on the helicopter, right?
Yeah, Gigi was on the helicopter with him when she passed away. So, but I don't know too much. I'm sure there's things we disagree about. But all I know is the Kobe Bryant I saw on and off the court was someone that I looked up to, and sports wise and otherwise,
right.
So whatever. But
speaking of LeBron,
I guess we can get into that.
I know
one.
it's out of your order, but
that is out of order. But you know what?
There,
but I think this is actually interesting because actually I think we can tie this into something that we care about a lot, which is being a parent and being a dad specifically.
Okay.
So I guess before we jump really deep dive into it, make sure you like, subscribe, share the show with your friends. Make sure you hit the notification bell, right, so you can check out when we actually do post videos.
It's important.
Again, just share the show. We appreciate the support. And, of course, if you prefer the audio version, go on Apple and Spotify, where every few weeks Taylor will drop, 2 or 3
I've been better.
episodes.
We're primarily YouTubers now.
We are.
So just
hashtag.
Get with it or get out.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just kidding. No, everything should be pretty regular on the other stuff. So
yeah. By the way,
if you like that audio only long form content, because apparently YouTube does not like long form content,
which is ironic because some of the most popular shows on the internet are like an hour to 3 hour shows with different people. And what that tells me, it's not that long form content is not desirable, is that it's people like it a lot if you're good at it. If you're not good at it, people hate it.
But it's also like once they know who you are or they like your style, what you have to say, whether they find you with clips or anything else, then they come and watch.
That's true.
But like as an up and comer or just somebody who's starting out, like you may get viral and get a few more subs out of it, but like it's about the grind. And like we said, we're going on year 2 here apparently. So
yeah, we'll see. But by the way, what are we drinking tonight?
Buffalo Trace. Because it's back in stock. Actually,
hashtag not a sponsor.
Yeah, I do like Buffalo. Buffalo.
It's so delicious.
Used to be my go-to until the whole COVID thing because Buffalo was always allocated. So it was always kind of tough. And so they didn't have enough to supply and then COVID happened. So what they're doing now is they're bombarding it with like all the liquor stores. Like Specs, they got 6 month supplies at once, cases and cases of it. So if you go to Specs now, you can buy a case of Buffalo for like 200 something bucks and it's 12 bottles. Whereas back in the day, it was like 1 or limit 2 per guest kind of thing. So apparently it's a marketing deal because they're trying to get back into the
I might have to tell
the limelight.
Listen, Chrissy, listen. Okay.
Yeah.
Just
listen.
Just hear me out. All right. I mean, this is a phenomenal deal. I got to take it. It's $200.
Yep. I would. Don't know if my liver would like it, but
But I would. So. But to get into the first topic, to what you were saying, I mean, that kind of your segue, this was something that I saw, I think today or yesterday or initially. This has to do with LeBron James. His family life. It has to do with his son. So some of y'all may have seen this story. Like I said, I saw it just today. Is that apparently LeBron's oldest son, Bronny, who is committed to go to USC to play basketball, was doing some practice. I don't know if it was like summer practice before school starts, for at USC or like AAU, whatever, right? He was doing some sort of practice, and he actually had a cardiac arrest while at practice, right? Which obviously, number one, very alarming, and my prayers are with LeBron and his son. I hope mostly, first and foremost, that Bronny is going to be okay, and he's able to get back to the thing he loves and has dedicated a lot of his life to, which is basketball. I hope he's able to do that. But someone raised the question of this is and this is not new of what I'm bringing up is a string of a noticeable uptick in young, healthy, specifically athletes, whether
or
professional,
males,
college, or otherwise. Yeah, mostly males, but some female. But these young, healthy college or professional athletes that are dealing with sudden heart issues, right?
Yeah.
Heart attacks and everything like that, which up until a few years ago was something that would have seemed very unheard of, been very
I mean, there's a lot of SDDS going on that we've seen since the last year and a half, give or take, if you can do the math and do your own research. But SDDS being what? Sudden drop dead syndrome.
I actually didn't know, so I'm glad you said it.
I just made it up. But the point is, I mean, people are just like dropping like flies. So, I mean, fortunately, a lot of it can be like treated. But I mean, you've heard this word from the tinfoil hatters for a while now. It's like myocarditis and all this other stuff. Like typically healthy or should be healthy individuals suddenly are having heart conditions or fluid around the heart muscle, which is the myocarditis. And then, or like in this instance, the heart attack, and it kind of makes you wonder, especially, I mean, we know LeBron was very outspoken during all of that. I mean, so you can kind of guess his views, and you could assume that, maybe jabs were had, but I don't know.
I would assume probably just because, again, like most people, they just did it to try to, again, there was a large portion of people that just did it just because in their brain there's like, this is a way for things to go back to normal.
It just keeps dropping on you.
I know.
Your voice sounds good though. Don't worry.
Thank you. To just get back to normal, right? A lot of people just said, look, whatever, I don't care, right? Because they thought of it as, the flu vaccine or anything else that we've taken, which, I haven't even taken a flu vaccine in I don't know how long.
Yeah.
Maybe ever. I don't even remember.
Yeah, I stopped.
So.
What'd you call it? All natural?
Yeah. Pure bloods. Hashtag.
Hey, there may be some money in it in the future. Apparently, unvaccinated semen apparently is already going up in price.
Yeah, it just needs to be the right price.
Just gotta have the wife sign off on that one. Hey, babe, how badly do you want a new kitchen table?
Listen.
It's like, because I got the goods.
I got the goods. Oh my gosh.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. We've talked about it at length over the last year and a half, especially. But
yeah, and we talked about it a lot and everything. For me, I think.
But it's rare because there hasn't been a lot of talk on it as of late.
Well, I think partially from one particular point of view, they want to just.
You think it's being throttled at all, or no?
Not necessarily. Like not as far as like you mean as far as like being censored of being talked about. I would say not really, because especially now, because of course Twitter is more of like a kind of a Wild West situation where it's a lot more open to talk about. Like actually, I saw there's a verified Twitter account called like The Truth About the Vaccine. They have like some some documentary or something. I didn't look at it. So it's much more of an open platform.
Okay.
I think it's more of just like anything else. It's easier just not to be throttled, but just kind of sweep it under the rug and just pretend like it didn't happen, right? Like people are just trying to, especially whether it's people in the media. I would say from the government perspective, they're trying to just pretend like it didn't happen, and we're just like, no, we're back to normal, right?
Yeah,
we're back to So,
I thought there'd be more people like speaking up about it because it seemed like it was starting to trend.
Mm-hmm.
Like more and more people were having medical issues or dying, and I don't know. The longer we get away from this, the more long-term research or study could be had about it. Because in the beginning, it was like, oh, you can't assume that, or you don't know that because it's it was too soon to tell.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, only the conspiracy theorists were jumping to that conclusion. But now that it's been going on like 2 years, I mean, I think there could be studies even right now being done to show otherwise.
Yeah, so
I'm waiting for the infomercial between Judge Judy and all that now about, are you a victim of the COVID-19 vaccination? Call now. There could be a cash settlement for you.
Yeah, we'll see. I think that's kind of like what's the not myocarditis. What is it?
Mesothelioma.
Yeah. We all know it. We all know it.
Yeah. Call J.G. Whitworth.
Well, that's to get a cash advance.
But I know it's all there. It's all the jingles.
There. I think I don't know if we'll see something like that. Because there would have to be, I think, some sort of law probably put in place for them to be able to get to that point. It's hard to say. All I know is from this, it's very disheartening. And, for me, if I was in LeBron's position, I'd be very upset because he is someone, although, and a person, when it comes to his personal things he says, I find him incredibly distasteful. But I will give him credit where credit is due when it comes to his physicality and his focus on taking care of himself, right? He has proven to just be obsessed with taking care of himself on a physical level, where pretty much everyone who was drafted with him back in 2002 or 2003, whenever it was, have all retired and moved on from the game of basketball because they just can't keep up with it. And he's still, 21 or 20 years in the league, still very much as physical and dominant as he was, maybe not as much, but certainly still extremely competitive, one of the top 5 players in the NBA, right? No question. And that comes from his dedication, right? The way he diets, the way he exercises. And, of course, he's passed that on to his son, right, who is an incredibly skilled basketball player, right, all those kind of things. And for his son's bright future to be stifled by something that was really in his control and he could have said no to, I have to imagine is pretty upsetting, because he probably doesn't want to point to that, but I mean, it has to be on the back of his mind. It would be in the back of my mind.
Maybe some doctors have said it, but he'll never say, I don't know. He would never publicly say he regretted doing what he did.
Probably not, I would imagine, but I have to.
But you can't put the blame on it on LeBron. I mean,
I don't blame him necessarily,
because it was mass hysteria. I mean, you had people like the likes of us who were too hesitant and were asking those questions that didn't want to be answered, that put up enough red flags for us to kind of say, I'm going to wait this out. See, maybe I'll get it, but as of right now, the information's not there.
I was always just,
but then, try to be polite.
Personally.
But then you had the people who were just like, hey, if this is what we're being told and this is what's going to help, then fine. But I mean, you kind of have to question when something comes out so fast and is pushed so heavy that there's not going to be consequences.
Yeah, and again, it's one of my biggest hang-ups with President Trump was I understand he wanted to try and find some sort of solution quickly to try to, honestly, to try to help him win re-election. I mean, in all honesty, I think if that wasn't on the table, I don't know if he would have moved as quickly.
I think he was trying to find a solution, but I don't think it was just with Big Pharma. I mean, he was looking to things like the ivermectin, and what's the other one? The oxytocin. What's
Oxycontin?
Yeah,
that
definitely helps.
Everything.
You know what I'm talking about? The
hydroxychloroquine or whatever.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah,
but he was looking at alternatives as well. He was all talking about I took a very a special. They've never seen DNA like mine. Yeah. That speech. The doctors said.
They just told me I was the most unbelievable specimen they've ever seen in their life.
I was in and out in like 2 days. They said they'd never seen anything like it.
My steady diet.
I have 12 Diet Cokes a day. It's funny because back then media was making fun of him. Like, oh, we got a decent president that's actually doing good for the world. So the only thing we can make fun of him for, besides the witch chases they were doing, is like, oh, he drinks 18 Diet Cokes a day. He says he doesn't drink water. And then we have real Coke in the White House. And people are laughing about that now.
Know.
They were making fun of Trump, but now we're like, it's SNL skits about like, and apparently they can't, Secret Service did a very thorough investigation, I'm sure, but they said that they cannot ascertain whose it was.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I would assume the most secure building, not only in the United States, but I would say probably the world, with cameras probably in every single room, in every inch, where nothing could be.
Nothing's invisible there.
Yeah.
And it's probably in things like infrared, like heat, thermal.
And somehow, some way, there's no way they can find out who possibly could have brought Coke into the White House. Now
it's in the cloud. The files are in the computer.
and I've seen some of the investigation stuff too. It's
laughable.
It's so fucking dumb, man.
They think we're buying it now. I think the majority of us, you listeners at home, are just realizing that we don't care anymore.
That is a lot of it. I just can't give a shit anymore. We're just so stupid.
It's like today in the life of, and it just what's next.
You're like, yeah, okay.
We're kind of just waiting for the next election, and then we'll kind of get reinvested. But right now, it's like, so long as we don't go World War III, I think we'll be okay.
I guess we'll find out. Because didn't Biden send like military reserve into Europe?
I don't even know.
Something? I don't know.
I was seeing stuff about like some F-16s were shooting like missiles or something, and then I saw
I just don't believe anything having to do with the Ukraine-Russia stuff.
No,
I just
not
don't
at
believe
all.
anything.
I don't believe
whatever
it.
It is.
Like, you want to say it's a war? I don't. And then some people think it's just Biden going after the corruption and trying to, shed light on the whole Sound of Freedom thing. But No, I don't care. I mean, when you have like Zelensky or whatever his name is
Yeah.
coming on like Dancing with the Stars while they're in the middle of a war,
Yeah.
things like that. Like I'm just like, okay,
But
this
also,
isn't
like,
Winston Churchill type stuff, trying to
Yeah.
hold the nation together during like fire raids every other night from the Germans. This is like, it's comical. And then you have the things where it was just, I don't know if you've been on social media the last like day or so, but I've been seeing it all over, is they're trying to show this like blown up church, war torn Ukraine. And even the women are in there helping remove the rubble. And there's talking about the death count. And there's these two women who picked up like a giant stack of concrete rubble.
People cleaning up the rubble, but this is what I wanted to show you. Olive oil here, picking up 7 slabs of concrete, walking off the screen casually.
The size of food trays, they're like 4 inches thick, and they've stacked like 3 in one hand, and then they've got like a couple other, and they're walking away in the camera shot. And they're like, this is a freaking movie set. That's foam. That's foam.
You're like, I work out. I could never do that.
Have you ever tried to pick up a plate, like a 45-pound plate? Good luck trying to do it with like just fingertip grip, let
Right.
alone like holding as many as.
Right, like holding
And they were-
3
they
in
were,
this
no
arm
offense, they
and
were
like
women.
2 in this arm, and you're like,
And they
it's
weren't
fine.
like strong women, like they weren't like the Olympians that you would see, like who were doing like where they lift the 200-something pound boulder, they got to put up on the tabletop. No, like these were just.
Dude, that thing that is wild.
Well, it's all about. I mean, just to even try to grip it to where you can
like
even do it.
You're like,
Yeah, it's crazy.
yeah, that kind of stuff's
Those
wild,
athletes are. I mean, even the women, they're
man. Those are
insane.
Yeah,
But yeah, so if you see that video, that's kind of what
that's
I was
hilarious.
talking
Yeah,
about.
and so yeah, when it comes to that kind of crap, I just ignore it at this
Laissez-faire.
point, because it's just part of it is like they're gonna do what they're gonna do, kind of regardless of what anyone says. Like it's like.
It's like all the money they're sending over. They're gonna do it whether we complain or not,
Yeah.
and our taxes are gonna go up this next December when tax season comes rolling around.
I know.
They're gonna go up again, and we're all gonna sit there. We're all gonna pay it again,
Yep.
and we're all gonna complain about it, and we're
just
gonna
gonna
keep
take
watching it.
But then we're just gonna move on, right? We're just gonna, and that was kind
I
of
was
what I
seeing
was gonna,
something. I mean, there's been a lot. There's a large movement. Somehow it's on my algorithm now, talking about how the taxation is theft and all that, and about how the income tax was a temporary. It's supposed to be a temporary thing for like to fund World War One, or was it World War Two, whatever. And it was supposed to stop, and we never stopped. And it was supposed to just be sales as like state tax. That was supposed to be it, no income. And it's just because there was enough to fund the government off without an income tax, because you already had a sales tax. Yeah, so if you go down that rabbit hole, it's like me. I just got I recently purchased something, and if you think about it, what I purchased was used. Now I got to go to the DMV, and I got to pay sales tax on it, on something that, since it's a non-essential good or whatever, it's not brand new. The original owner paid for it. They paid the sales tax. Somebody else, had it, then they sold it. I bought it from them. I'm paying sales tax on that again. It's like, to me, it was like something that was like blowing my mind. I was like driving the other day. It was just like, you're paying.
why did I pay
like,
this?
It's like an infinite loophole. You're paying on something that's already been paid for. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Taxation is theft.
Like, dude, we went to war with England as a bunch of farmers because we were upset over taxes. And now they literally bend us over backwards. Like property tax. I mean, Abbott is trying to do that whole, property tax cut, which should help, but we may not see that until a year or so.
Yeah, well, I don't think it even ended up going through
Really?
legislation. Or, yeah, so I don't know. All right, but to be fair, Texas doesn't have a state income tax, so
There's that.
whatever. You know where else doesn't have a state income tax?
Montana.
Yeah.
Montana's getting expensive though.
Yeah, their houses are,
So Wyoming.
also doesn't have a state income tax. Just saying.
Honestly, as nice as those places are, they're kind of getting popular. Maybe it's like North Dakota, man. Maybe that's the move.
Ooh, I'd actually go South Dakota, I think.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. Because you also have, it's it's even less populated. I think, well, now granted, there's not a
So
lot
long
of
as
people in
there's-
either one. But
So long as there's like mountains or something, but I don't know if that's just plain still.
you're probably going to get more, I think South
Prairie,
Dakota. I think I think North Dakota is actually more prairie.
I thought
versus
South Dakota was the Black Hills or whatever.
Yeah, well, because South Dakota also has Mount Rushmore.
Mm-hmm.
So,
So there's stuff there.
yeah. My cousins are, I have a cousin and her husband live there. And they like it a lot. I thought about it. Pretty awesome.
Think about it.
I think it's Central Time too still, right? Because, yeah, it's just north of us. Legit. Yeah. So, everything else will stay the same in my life. Except it wouldn't be so effing hot.
Yeah. And it has been hot.
Oh,
Hot and humid. It's like pick one.
Ugh.
Just pick one.
Texas, man. It's brutal. Well, I guess. Well, it's hot everywhere in
It's
Texas.
like you love it. You love.
I do
you
love
to hit
Texas.
it.
I do.
I mean, it gets cold here, but it's like a wet cold. Like a Colorado cold, like a Utah cold, is almost better than like
yeah.
here.
Yes, because it's like when it's like the damp cold. It almost like it like gets into your bones how cold it is. Like no amount of jackets are gonna save you.
No.
Yeah.
Nope.
When it's just snow, it's like okay, if I have enough jackets on, I'm safe from the snow.
Yeah, it's colder here when it's like 30 degrees than whenever it's like 20 with snow in Colorado.
Yeah, because I remember like we like when we would go on family trips there, like we would go skiing and
Sometimes
then
you
just
just go in a t-shirt.
Yeah,
You start sweating.
Well, yeah, because like I think one day I had like just a long sleeve. I had a jacket, but then I ended up taking it off and just had my long sleeve shirt. And afterwards, when we were sitting out, we sat outside, like eating and whatever at like the ski lodge, and it was like again, it was probably like 25, 30 degrees maybe, right? Probably closer to 20 and 25. And we're just like, yeah, we're just sitting there. It's like it's pleasant. The sun's out. We're just hanging
Now,
out.
granted, it can get cold, like colder than it can here.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
I remember when we went for a ski trip a couple years ago. It was just like me, my wife, and two buddies, and
the
we road
impromptu.
tripped.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are the best ones. And I pulled an all-nighter and I drove into Breck, and I got into Breck at like 4:30, 5 o'clock. So we got there before the sun came up. But I remember before going into through the last pass, it was pretty much all plains the whole way, slow elevation. And I pulled over at one point, and so since it was all open, we weren't in the mountains or in a pass. It was wide open, so the wind is whipping. And with the wind chill, my car was reading -4.
Oof.
And I got out to piss. I pulled on the side of the road, the grass is laying over the barbed wire fence and the railroad tracks. I mean, because it's like cowboy prairie right there before you get into the mountains. And like piss was like freezing. Like it's cold. Like you're like, oh my gosh, I think it's going to fall off. Like hurry. Get back in. But then it's funny because then you get in there, you get higher up in elevation, the wind drops off, and then you can have a sunny day where you're skiing in a t-shirt and it was 20 miles away. Like, so I think I would take that over Houston though. The car was reading -4. I didn't know because I was watching it drop and drop and drop, and I didn't know. I'm like, will the car outside ambient temperature, whatever, will it go negative or just stop at 0? I didn't know. It got to like 0, and then when it hit negative, I was like waking people up because, of course, I was the only one awake, like driving. Everybody's passed out. I'm like, if we all die, nobody will know.
Yeah.
Nobody will blame me. Nobody's like, as we're careening off a cliff because the guardrail broke or something, I slid off. Nobody's gonna be like in midair. What the Taylor? Like, shouldn't let you drive. No, they'll all be asleep.
Go to sleep and you'll never wake up.
You're never gonna wake up. So yeah, good times.
Oh man, speaking of cowboy prairie, there's something else that's been going on in the news. A little bit of controversy
Okay,
going on with a particular country music star.
good segue.
Thanks. So
credit
this
is due.
kind of caught my eye just because it goes to just being how silly everything is. So I don't particularly listen to Jason Aldean. When I pull up country music, he comes up every once in a while, but not don't hate him, but not particularly a fan.
Yeah.
And so this song of his called "Try That in a Small Town," right, has recently gained popularity.
I'll play a clip right here.
The magic of editing. So
Unless I forget. Sorry if it's not there.
that'll make it almost even better. So What's funny is this song actually was released in May, because I guess he released an album in May or something. I don't know, right? But that's when the song originally came out, right? But it gained popularity recently, or controversy, really, because of the music video surrounding this song, okay? And the music video takes place in the front steps of like the state courthouse or state Senate building or whatever of Tennessee, right? There's a big American flag, right? Very patriotic, okay? And the whole idea of the song
Like the second
is
Bud Light commercial.
the one that they tried to say sorry to, but America said, "Nice try, fuck yourself." And they're still filling it right now, thankfully.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, you're like no, we're not doing that. Sorry, Bud Light. And so what was so controversial is this song is about, people doing things that happen during the summer of love in big cities, like whether it's rioting, hitting police officers, things like that. And Jason Aldean's the whole idea of the song is, you don't try that in a small town, right? Because, typically speaking, when you go to small town America, right, they don't particularly care for those kind of, activities. And in the music video, there's clips of, Antifa type riots, maybe BLM, whatever. It's not necessarily clear, right? But of course that happens, and, the media is in an uproar, right? Because it's talking about, this is pro-lynching. I'm not sure where they got that. It's not in the lyrics or in any of the video clips, but apparently this is pro-lynching, and it's just racist, right? Because it's targeted towards black people, is what the media was saying. And so in that uproar, you have places like CMT, right? Because they still play music videos and stuff.
That's still a thing.
It is still a thing.
People still have cable?
Well, right, some people do, apparently. So that was what was happening, okay? And so, number one, first and foremost, what makes me laugh about this is that, again, there's no indication, right, that the video or things are pointed towards black people, right? But people on the left are just making the assumption, right, that it's clearly talking about black people and them doing this. And the reason why that's so funny is, of course, is what it demonstrates, and we've talked about this, I'm sure, right, is how racist people on the left actually are. Because for them, actually, in their mind, in their brain, okay, there's no correlation other than a black person committing these acts, right? There's no possibility that anyone else could. It's just they automatically think it's black people, right? Which is just, it just is very ironic to me, right? So yeah, so CMT pulled the video and all this kind of stuff, and publicly Jason Aldean has kind of stood by and say, hey, like I don't apologize, like basically saying I love America and what's happening to us right now is bullshit and all.
Which is interesting because the whole Garth Brooks thing,
right? Because then you have Garth Brooks who
totally bent over.
Yeah, well, Garth Brooks is if you are familiar with the comedian Tom Segura, Garth Brooks is a serial murderer.
Oh my God. I did see that.
Have you seen those? Have you seen that Garth Brooks has blocked him and hates Tom Segura's guts?
That's funny because we should have talked about that one on our conspiracy theory episode.
Garth Brooks actually is actually a serial killer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you follow all the missing bodies, they go and it follows his tour path over all the years.
Yeah.
It's actually kind of alarming. We should have talked about that.
We should have. We could do a conspiracy theories part 2.
We should.
But
people need to go watch the first one. Just saying. That was not last week, but the one before. Our most recent upload. That was a fun one.
It was fun. It was good.
So go watch it.
He put a lot of work into the editing.
I did. You'll like it. But yeah, I don't know. It's pretty funny. I think we need more of that. Long story short.
Yeah, well, it's kind of a weird thing at this point now because apparently, the music video they not maybe again publicly. Jason has seemed to stand by everything that's said.
Well, yes, because what I was talking about is different than what's yours. I didn't know that this was a thing, but he's come out with an even more recent song. And it's almost like Tom McDonald now, where it's just straight up going for the juggler now.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's one of the people that has come out and just been outright like, yeah, I feel this way. I don't really care anymore. But there's been apparently there's been a version of the video that's been made that's taken the clips out so it can get back on CMT. And I just say apparently because there's no saying as to, you know, Jason is what, because I mean his management team and the producers and all the other people could have done it without even telling him to try to get it back on CMT. I don't know, right? It's neither here nor there, right? He hasn't said anything about it at this point, so I don't know. All I know is all I can go by though truly is what he has said publicly, right? Because although those changes may be happening to try to get the video back on CMT, there's been no indication publicly that he has said I'm doing this or bending the knee or things like that.
Right.
But I think what's important is that, you know, and also the song got to like Billboard top like number 2 for the top 100 or whatever. And so what it shows is that, of course, recently, right, whether it's that or the Bud Light thing or even Disney recently losing $800 or $900 million over the last several movies that they've come out with, along with the attendance at the Disney theme parks has gone down, that the average American in a lot of ways is starting to really reject a lot of things that you know, the media is trying to push, or that really in a lot of ways people used to indulge in, whether it's entertainment stuff. People are choosing to say, you know what, you know, this stuff's actually not that important to me, screw it, right, and just being done with it. And you know, again, we probably won't see a major change for a long while, but it's just good to see that, again, you know, there is a actual, you know, I think on a certain level boycotts can work when they're done correctly.
Right.
And I think as of recently, those that are, I would say just the non-woke, have chosen the right things to say, hey, yeah, I'm not doing that. And it's actually perhaps getting some attention, even especially with people like maybe Disney and things like that. So
Hopefully.
Yeah. Are you looking something up?
I was trying to find that one I was talking about.
With the
Jason Aldean one.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I'm not a big Jason Aldean fan. So I don't know. His brand of country is just not necessarily my.
See, I don't do that type of country. I like, which is sad. It's almost like the running joke is it's the sad cowboy phase.
Sad boy country.
Well, it started with like Ryan Bingham.
Yes.
And I found him before he even showed up on Yellowstone.
Yeah.
And the fact that he showed up on Yellowstone, I was like, oh, that's Ryan Bingham. And my wife was like, who?
And you're like,
and I'm like,
you've
heard the song. That's on my
know.
playlist, blah, blah, blah.
So you're like that. You're like the.
I was their first guy.
You're the indie. Yeah, you're the indie guys. Like I knew that band before they were popular.
And then because of my playlist, I found Zach Bryan.
So good.
And then he got super big because of his Something
popular.
in the Orange. And then he came out all woke. So I kind of stopped listening to him.
Zach Bryan did?
Oh, yeah.
What did he say?
It's about the whole trans thing.
What did he say?
That we should respect their rights and all that kind of crap too. I don't know. Anyways.
Whatever. I mean.
Everybody. Who, Elvis. Elvis, when interviewed and asked about his opinion on the war at that time, whichever war was, probably Vietnam or something.
It was Vietnam.
But when asked about his opinion, and when they asked, hey, because you've served for the country too, what's your opinion, you know, as a big celebrity? He's like, I'm not going to do an Elvis voice, but he's like, listen, let me tell you this, ma'am. But he's basically like, I'm an entertainer. My opinion, not that I would even share it, shouldn't matter.
Oh, I've seen that clip.
But that's... More people should take that mindset and that mentality and apply it.
Well, we most celebrities used to. I mean, the only ones that were really. What do you blame? 90s TV, early 2000s, everything's reality. We care too much about what celebrities do and think. I think that's part of it. I mean, the over emphasis on the celebrity and what they think or say. I think has
people became obsessed with it.
Yeah, because I mean. Again, most celebrities for a long time just were like, hey, look, I just, you know, because it even goes back to the famous quote about, from Michael Jordan, when he was asked, it was some contentious Senate or congressional race or something like that in North Carolina. And he was like, look, you know, Republicans buy sneakers too, right? The point being, he's like, look, I'm not here to like voice what I think. Like, I'm here to, you know, I do what I do, and I'm here for everyone, right?
So Jordan says that, but then LeBron is the complete opposite.
Which is why LeBron will never be Jordan.
Yeah.
and why actually the only person that is the argument for the GOAT along with Michael Jordan is Kobe Bryant.
R.I.P.
See, this has all come full
You
circle.
like that?
So, but I think it is the focus of celebrity. I mean, we've had activists. You had Muhammad Ali.
You can use your platform, use your reach for positivity.
Yeah, I absolutely, and I think there's times where it makes sense.
Not to sway political opinion.
No, not necessarily. I mean, I guess part of it is political, no matter what. Because even if you go back to the Muhammad Ali protests of Vietnam, right? He was very vocal about that. I mean, he was very much of an activist as well as an athlete. I think, speaking of LeBron, I think he fancies himself.
You got to give Ali a little credit, though, because I feel like being anti-war isn't necessarily political. It's more being humanitarian.
It probably shouldn't be, but it's considered that.
A lot of people are against war.
I mean, I would say at this point, his stance on being anti-war when it came to Vietnam was correct, in my opinion. Yeah. I mean, I think that the Vietnam War was a major mistake as far as the U.S. is concerned. I
would agree.
Especially because, of course, when it comes to I think we talked about this during the conspiracy theory episode, like the Gulf of Tonkin incident, which was, as turned out to be, according to released documents from the government, was a false flag operation to get the U.S. involved in Vietnam. Now, granted, I understand that they were worried about the influence of communism and all kind of stuff that was spreading, because, of course, they were dealing with that when it came to the USSR. But again, a lot of Americans died for, I would say, no reason, and I know this from talking to
and it's such a small country to get.
Not only that, but not only that. I mean, in talking to a Vietnam veteran who I know who went over there, and the reception that they received when they came back, it was not good. It was all around not good. I mean, and especially when you look at the previous major. I mean, there was the Korean War, right, which is seen as kind of a forgotten conflict for the U.S. But prior to that, right, obviously every military member that came back from World War II was seen as a great hero.
Yeah.
And greeted home with great
fanfare.
Compared
to Vietnam, where they were like baby killers and called all kind of names.
Yeah, I mean, and I would say this gentleman I know who served in Vietnam talked about how he came back home and his sister just called him a baby murderer, and he's like, you have no idea what the fuck I had to deal with and had to see.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you have no idea what you're talking about, which is brutal, because of course he talked about similar tactics that were used in the Middle East, where these extremist groups would get women and children to carry out different assignments, because they knew that it would cause an American soldier to at least hesitate, which is all you need to have something bad happen.
Yeah.
Or they, especially if you watched American Sniper,
mm-hmm.
In those instances, it was, you're sadly either a 10-year-old boy or your entire platoon, and he had to make certain decisions like that. So I mean, it's difficult, but yeah, I think in the world of reality TV and just celebrities. I mean, again, not only reality TV at this point. I mean, it's it's social media. I mean, you can, whether it's Twitter or Instagram. I mean, you can intimately follow these famous individuals.
It's like what they had for breakfast and everything.
Yeah, and so
it's too much information.
It is. We know too much about each other. And I think our celebrities
are used to telling and saying everything and everything how they feel.
They feel self-important. I mean, that's why you get the grandstanding at these awards shows, right? And all these different things, berating the average American about why they're terrible for using their gas stove, right, for climate change, or they're driving their gas car, and how dare they not drive electric? It's like, yeah, this person makes $50,000 a year and just trying to take care of their family, you fucking asshole.
Yeah, meanwhile, like all the people that are saying that, especially like the politicians and stuff, they're taking these like private jets to get to these like Geneva Conventions or these Greenpeace stuff. It's like, am I the only one not seeing the logic here?
Well, again, it's what it is about them. It's rules for thee and not for me. It's like you need to stop driving your gas car so I can fly in my private
Greta
jet.
Thunberg, whatever. It's even like when she's been asked by reporters, is like, okay, why are you only targeting like Western nations to make the biggest
what about
difference?
China?
What about India?
Yeah, it's like
All these unregulated that are like 80% of the culprit. You're trying to go after the 20%. What about the 80%?
Or even the pollution in the
laughs.
ocean, like the pollution in the ocean, like 90% of it is caused by China.
It comes out of like 2 rivers.
Yeah,
The Delhi River, whatever, and the Yangtze River, whatever it is.
Well, whatever it is, it's like it's not us.
Yeah, the giant Pacific garbage patch that everybody was, I don't know if it's a hoax or not, but they say it was like a size of Texas floating out there, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's China.
It's coming from 2 rivers.
Yeah,
Follow the currents.
yeah. Follow the money.
Trust me, it's going to be huge.
So, but yeah, it's just, but again, it goes to it's the rules for thee, for not for me. It's like you do this so that I don't have to change, right?
Well, it's all money though, because I mean they realized that, okay, the little activists were kind of right. We do need to start to kind of shift anyways, but how can we get ahead of this and make money off of it? Okay, we're not just going to allow electric cars. We're going to push so hard for them that everybody's going to have to buy them, and we're going to make them expensive, because we've had electric cars for years. So they make them expensive, and they start to do the infrastructure with all the superchargers, and then they make that, you know, they incentivize it like it's free at first, but now, I mean, some of these superchargers are more expensive than to fill up your regular gas tank, to my knowledge. But yeah, I mean, if you're truly an activist, you got to ask yourself, okay, what's charging? Where's the electricity coming from that's supplying your car? And then your car itself, like the lithium-ion batteries. Have you seen the strip mining and everything?
I know the craters that are created.
It's worse than the natural.
Yeah.
You know, I was seeing something the other day. Do you want to talk about conspiracies part 2? Here's a little tidbit. I think it was not Vanderbilt, or is it Rockefeller? One is like railroad, one is more oil and gas. He was coined as the first to ever use the word fossil fuel. Calling it a fossil fuel started that kind of like advertising, marketing kind of way to make it think that it was a limited resource. There's some people out there who are saying that it is unlimited. It's never going to stop. It's a mineral. It's there. It's never going to stop. Other people think it's like dinosaurs, and, you know, they break down and turn into this goo, and we run our planet off of it, you know. But if you follow the money and you follow that,
are dinosaurs real?
If it was yeah, that's another thing too. I think they are, but if you follow that logic, if something was an infinite resource, then there's nothing to make money off of it. It's like trying to charge for water or something like that. If people had access to it, if people have all these streams nearby, are you going to walk into their village and try to sell them a bucket of water and then get it themselves, kind of thing? So by that point, if you sell it as hey, we've dug it out, it's hard to do it, it's a limited resource, like this is precious. America's gone to war over oil. Several.
Oh yeah. We go to liberate them.
But not only that,
we go to spread democracy.
The price of the barrel is directly reflects our stock market, our economy.
Yeah.
The price of the barrel, suddenly gas goes up, suddenly everything changes. Now, granted, we have these huge reserves like Alaska, and then like the different ones they keep finding here in Texas, like the Eagleford and all that.
They just don't go to.
Because we're trying to, it's a last backup. But apparently we have these like reserves that Biden was letting, and he was selling off to try to go after the deficit a little bit. But he was like selling off these like a bunch of our reserves. I don't know. It just makes you wonder, is it finite or is it infinite? I don't know.
Well, you know, when it comes to America, we just are focused on spreading democracy by taking the oil. So yeah, it's a bunch of load of bullshit to me, if you ask me.
Just start pulling that string. You know, you don't know what you're gonna unravel.
Here's the thing. I don't mind commoditizing stuff and making money. Money is good.
I'm all for capitalism.
I like money. Money is very good. money buys you things, and things can bring you temporary satisfaction.
Yeah, like my garage.
Yes, that is pretty sweet. It's pretty awesome.
I'm temporarily
And,
satisfied.
they say money can't buy you happiness, but have you ever seen somebody frowning on a jet ski?
Unless it's broken.
I haven't.
Yeah. Leave a comment. What do you think's in my garage right now?
Ooh, yeah. What did Taylor buy?
It's let's put it this way. It's red. It's from Italy, and it is not a Ferrari. Leave a comment.
And it is not a Ferrari.
So, or a Vespa. I'll give you another hint. It's not a Vespa, but
Ooh, Vespa. I love Luca.
Luca's a good one.
That's a solid movie.
You know, it's sad how far Disney has fallen, and we've talked about it. I was excited for Pixar's new Elemental, and then we started getting some talk about that.
Oh no, I knew that was gonna be dog shit.
That I was even excited for that new Nimona movie on Netflix.
Dog shit? Or I'm asking.
I've heard it's good.
I
heard
just
it's
don't
good,
trust anything anymore.
and I thought it'd be okay because it was Netflix. My kid had already watched it once. He was rewatching it the next morning, and before I left for work, I happened to catch over. 2 of the knights were sitting next to each other. They started holding hands, hugged, and they told each other they loved them. They were an item.
See, again, it's a little.
Why is that? I mean,
it's a little subtle, right? That's what it is.
Why is that necessary? It's a children's movie. And to the other side, their argument is like, well, if it's totally natural, then why shelter? Because I want to raise my kids the way I want to raise them.
The answer is controversial because it's not natural. And
It's
so
never been like that throughout history. Like,
no.
Stop rocking the boat. I mean, same with this. Like the new Snow White movie is gonna flop, dude. She's
That
Hispanic.
movie looks like ass. Have you seen this? Did you see the set picture?
Yes.
Put it in. Drop it right here.
Well,
It looks terrible.
the dwarf from Game of Thrones. I forget his real name.
Peter Dinklage.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's even come out. He's been very outspoken about it, saying like, there's not a lot of work for little people in Hollywood in acting. This was a perfect role for people of my stature to get some good honest work and to get some screen time.
It's true. Yes.
And we were slighted for what? Diversity to be
to not be offensive. To be.
They
diversity.
have one of the 7 dwarves is a little person. The rest look like the freaking Teletubbies walking through.
Well, no, it's not. It's the 7 diverse.
Diversity hires.
Yeah, it was like Snow White and the 7 diversity hires. Yeah,
Yeah.
Well, it
You
just,
used to have Sleepy, Dinky, or whatever. Now they still got Dopey. Now you have ADHD, depression. Like, what are the different dwarves going to be now? But you can't even call them dwarves.
Non-binary.
What are they going to call them in the movie?
They're just gonna call them people, I guess. I don't know.
Hey, people.
Yeah, the 7 Snow White and the 7.
Maybe one identifies as a cat. That's offensive.
That is offensive.
can't call
So,
it
but
people.
and that's the funny. It's like it's one of the most iconic roles that you could ever have in a movie for someone that is a
Did you
dwarf.
see the interview with her and Gal Gadot? They're saying we're taking a new twist on it.
Oh yeah, and I did see it because I saw someone tweet about it, like they said Disney honestly thinks this is actually going to get people to come see the movie.
What
And that's
Gal
true.
Gadot was like, oh, we don't need the prince in this one.
Yeah, it's like she's not going to be saved by the prince. It's
Yeah.
like, oh well, guess what? We're not going to see the movie. How do you
Her
think about
white
that?
is fair as her skin is fair as snow, and she's Hispanic. Like nothing,
Yeah.
nothing against you, Christian.
No.
But your skin is not that fair.
No, it is not fair. It is not fair, and this is not fair. No, it's stupid. It's just like the fucking Little Mermaid. These stories were written in Europe in the fucking 17 and 1800s.
That's 2 in a row. Nice.
Yes, and guess what? Every person that those people grew up with were white. So yes, they wrote these stories about Anglo people because that's what they look like. Just like the African stories, guess what? They're all about fucking African people. Like, it is just stupid.
That's like me
It's
putting a
unbelievably
white person as
stupid.
Mulan. It's just like
Yes, it is the exact same thing.
Nobody-
It is the exact same thing.
nobody wants to see that because
No, because that would be
it's
dumb.
racist. They don't want to see it because it's dumb.
Yeah. It's silly. And so, again, it's just going to be
This goes back
another
to a
thing.
very simple child development tool, I guess is the word for it. So you used to have these little wooden trays, with wooden shapes cut out, with wooden blocks. And the blocks correspond with the shape of the same hole. So if you have a circular block, it goes in what? That's right, kids, the circle hole. If you have a triangle, could it maybe fit in the square hole? Sure, but a good parent's going to teach you, hey, just because it fits doesn't mean it's right. And the triangle goes in the triangle.
Just because it fits doesn't mean it ships.
What Disney's trying to do is reinvent the wheel, and they're trying to put, square pegs in round holes and stuff with these movies. Like, nobody's upset that, this is a Hispanic movie, or this is, an Asian movie, Mulan, or if Princess and the Frog, if they came out with a live adaptation, I'd hope they were black. Like, if it's Louisiana and Creole, and like, that's what I'd want to see.
Yeah, that's the culture. That's what it is.
But that's the square block going in the square hole. And we're not racist. We want to see it. We'll watch it. But we don't want to see the circle go in the square.
It's the black square going in the
I'm done with the analogy. I keep saying.
No, but you're right. And that's what is just so stupid. And again, it's just going to be another movie that, like, no one's going to go see because they're like, this is fucking dumb.
It's just wrong.
It's just dumb. It's
Fundamentally,
stupid.
It feels wrong. And there's a reason why it feels awkward. Another thing in cinema you talk about is the, what's the word? I can't remember the word. It's the uncanny valley. That's what it is.
Oh, yeah.
When something, they're trying to make, especially early days of animation, they were trying to make like the dinosaur movie or like the first Toy Story. The reason why they didn't show a lot of the parents or the real people is because they looked just like the toys. Because the animation wasn't there to make the skin look lifelike. They were good. That's why they decided to do a toy movie, because it was easy. They look plasticky. The moment you try or something looks too realistic but something's off, it's called the uncanny valley, and it makes humans feel uneasy. It's instinctive. It's an instinct, really, that tells us that something's not right. Something's not natural. Like when you look at some of those Facebook videos where, what's his name? Mark Zuckerberg's talking about Sweet Baby Ray's, and he looks like he's got lizard eyes or something. That's uncanny valley. Like your body's telling you something's not quite right.
This is wrong.
Speaking of not quite right, my wife showed me a video this morning about some Senate hearing or something where it looked like behind the judge, whoever was reading it, was doing like ventriloquism. Have you seen that yet?
No,
maybe I'll put a clip in here if I remember. But yeah, it's like she's like mouthing like word for word as the judge or whatever's reading from the manuscript or whatever, like word for word, even down to the when she goes blah, 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 she keeps talking, and when the camera, she can notices the camera's on her, she like gets all awkward and she like starts to cover her mouth and all that. So it's like, is this like telepathy? Is this like ventriloquism? Is this like, are there the internet's going wild with that clip right now. But
there's lizard people running our government.
So I don't know.
So, but honestly, that being said, it makes me think that maybe it's a good thing that there's a strike going on in Hollywood.
Yeah.
Right. See what I did there?
I do.
So, and it's important because like culturally, especially like one of the biggest things that has allowed America to be what it is the fact of one of our greatest exports is culture.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's what I think in a lot of ways, people joke, right? What defeated communism was, the blue jeans, right? It was just the Americana, that what America was, the culture. Mm-hmm. And, what has happened in the last, I would say really like 5 or 6 years, here's the thing. No one was under some sort of impression that a bunch of Republicans were in Hollywood, or right-wingers were in Hollywood. None of us thought that. We all knew that that's not true. But at least they were focused on just creating good content, right? Good movies with good stories, all kind of stuff, because it made money.
We didn't care. They were the artists, the yuppies. They were all there.
Yeah, they were left wing, right? They were a little weird, but whatever. They kept it to themselves mostly, and they put out good content, right? That the average American could enjoy and consume. But as the last 5 or 6 years, they just put the pedal down, right, and really basically told half the country to F off, right? And you're bigots, you're homophobic, all the phobes and all the things they could tell you, right? And it's all kind of come to a head where not only was there the economic issues of COVID, but now you have this writer's strike, along with honestly, a lot. Not again, Disney is the biggest one because it's such a behemoth of a company. It's been in the news about losing the hundreds of millions of dollars, and it's going to continue because no one gives a shit about any of the movies that they're putting out right now.
Yep.
That I'm very curious to see kind of where we go at this point because for me, I'm a big entertainment guy. I love movies.
Oh yeah.
We went to go see. I texted you we went to go see the new Mission Impossible movie. Which if you're a movie goer, you should go see it. It's very good, very entertaining. Tom Cruise, the last action star that there is in another great movie. But for where we are now, I don't know. I'm very curious what's going to happen because we were talking about before we went on, or maybe we were already recording, but Stranger Things, right? Is going to be it's going to be delayed, right? Anything that you like is going to be either be gone or just be delayed.
Yeah, I made a joke saying that they're going to be 25
yeah.
full beards drinking by the time we get to season 5.
Right.
We started this, and there was a little writer issue a while back too, which is why there was a delay between a couple of these seasons too.
Yeah.
But it's just ridiculous. They're supposed to be young, and we get these big age gaps all because writer strikes. I mean, I get it. Maybe the writers wanted more pay, but now it seems listen to some of the people in the street who are complaining. They're being an extra, you only get $800 a day. You mean you go in for a couple hours worth of work and you get $800?
Yeah, and again, it's not good optics, really. Honestly, partially, if you didn't, there's two things. If you didn't tell half the country, again, to fuck themselves, then maybe
the De Niro's, all that stuff we've watched.
All of them.
Yeah.
Right? If you didn't tell half the country to just, you didn't tell them like they did a lot of times, well, these movies aren't for you. And finally, most of America was like, okay, fine. Then I won't go see your movies. How about that? And so now no one gives a shit that y'all have issues. Even if some of them are maybe even...
Well, even when box office numbers started to drop and it's the movies are, going bankrupt and nobody's going to movies anymore. And they're like, people, y'all need to start going out again. They got worried. At first it was we don't care. We're going to put out what we want. But then people stopped watching it and they're you need to go out.
What's funny is there's a video clip that someone caught. It was at, I think, the premiere of Top Gun Maverick, or it was soon after that at some other premiere. And it was at some award show, and it's a clip of Steven Spielberg going up to Tom Cruise saying, "Thank you, you saved the movie industry," right? Because until Top Gun Maverick, there were no large movies coming out, or no movies for people to go see. Which actually, really side note real quick, before Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning, Tom Cruise did a little video like he did with Top Gun Maverick.
Oh, at the beginning of the movie,
same thing
where he's talking about,
and he's saying. Actually, it's him and the director Christopher McQuarrie.
Just say thanks for coming. Yeah,
he said, we can't thank you enough for coming to the theater. Right, we put in all our effort to put on a great movie for you to watch in a theater. So we thank you for
and honestly,
that
personalizes the experience.
Yes,
it makes it seem like he's talking to you.
Yes,
you didn't just pay for a ticket that you could have watched at home if you waited a month and a half. Because you're not going to get that message if you watch it at home.
No, you're not. You're just going to get the movie.
Right.
And I would know that because I watch Top Gun Maverick at least once a week.
I own it. So that movie is probably on Pluto or Tubu or wherever at this point for free with ads.
It's on Prime. It's included with Prime if you have a Prime membership.
See, my point exactly. But I purchased it because it was something that I as an American wanted to support.
It's so good.
And I'm pretty sure I saw it in theater too. But that's my point. It's not a money thing. As an American, if there's something worth investing in or standing behind, America will.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, but we're not going to do it just because you tell us to or because we're expected to.
Right, yeah. And so, partially I think they get what they deserve. And again, I saw a bunch of clips today of Bryan Cranston and these famous actors complain. I'm like, dude, you're worth hundreds of millions of dollars. I don't give a shit what you have to say.
I mean, I watched Breaking Bad all the way through with the wife. We finished up 6 months ago or something. So you go through that and you experience it for the first time and you're so like, whoa, that was a great show. And then because it's all post-COVID now and everybody's got an opinion, I started getting on Bryan Cranston and him as a real person and his opinions. I'm like, dude, F this guy.
Yeah, you're a dick.
As an actor or the character he portrayed, like, awesome. Him as a person, like, dude, this sorry sack of, it's just whiny baby, man.
Yeah, and so when I saw you, he's like, we have a message for Bob Iger, right? And I saw even another actor like talking about. I'm like, dude, you're worth like millions of dollars. I don't give a shit what you have to say, like, and that's the funny thing. Again, it just goes to, like the overly important or how overly important actors think they are, or celebrities. It's like you think you're so important that you're gonna care, like people are gonna care when in actuality the average person sees you. And they think about what you've said about them, and they're like, you know what? I don't give a crap. I hope you go bankrupt, right? Because you're an asshole, And
they've got enough. They should just step away.
Yeah. So, but then also, just start making good movies and stuff. Like most stuff that's out is just crap. Like from the stuff I've recently watched. Okay. Again, Mission Impossible, right? Fantastic, great. You should go see it. We rented the Mario movie. Very fun. You should see it with your kids. I liked it. Did y'all see the Mario movie?
We saw it in theater.
Yeah,
it was
very
alright.
good. I thought it was fun. All that was funny is we watched it and it got to the end. Christina was pissed because Yoshi wasn't in it. But then there's like the little end. There's like a little end credit scene with like a little Yoshi egg.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah.
I don't remember that part.
Yeah, we were like kind of getting like ready to go to bed and the credits were just playing and then it came up and I was like, see, there's your Yoshi.
There you go.
Like that, Christina. And then have you seen? I will say one good show we need to get back to as Rabbit's Foot on Paramount Plus. It's with Kiefer Sutherland.
Yes.
You should check it out.
Yeah, we're like 6 episodes in.
Oh, you are?
And we stopped.
Okay.
We kind of just forgot about it.
Okay.
Because like our other shows kind of came back on.
But were you enjoying it up until then or was it getting boring?
Yeah, but we were waiting every week for it to come out. And so I guess between the weeks
Oh, that's tough. Yeah. You see, that's
I thought I was the one who told you about that.
You might have been.
Yeah, Kiefer Sutherland. I said it's all a conspiracy kind of theory. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Because, and then Charles
It's not
Dance
Rabbit's Foot, it's Rabbit's Hole.
Did I say Rabbit's Foot?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I meant Rabbit's Hole.
Yeah.
Sorry.
You like that Rabbit's Hole.
Oh, my Lord. Yeah, no, sorry, Rabbit's Foot would be...
yeah, lucky.
Yeah, but then also...
But the rabbit hole is like you go down the rabbit hole.
Yeah, you go down, yeah. So, yeah, the first episode is good because, like, shit goes crazy and all. Yeah, so it's good.
Have you finished the whole thing?
No, we're just a couple episodes in. And so we just got revealed that, like, his, I guess, spoilers for episode 2 of Rabbit Hole.
It's like pause it.
On Paramount Plus. Skip, I don't know, 5 minutes. That his dad is actually alive because it makes you think that he's, like, that he killed himself, but he did not.
Oh, yeah, you're not even close.
And also, Charles Dance is his dad. When I saw that, I was like, yes, I love Charles Dance.
Yeah,
that's Tywin Lannister for anyone who doesn't remember.
It gets more than that.
Is it good? Okay, good.
Like, just when you think you're like close to figuring out, it unravels more and becomes even bigger and bigger, and you're like, it's a lot.
Okay.
So keep at it.
Okay. Well, yeah, we'll keep at it. But again, things are so like that like. So, these are the two things we watch on Netflix. We either watch murder documentaries, or we started watching the show called Love on the Spectrum.
Oh my gosh!
Have you seen that?
I've seen clips on them.
Okay,
they're all like
yes, it's about people who are on the autistic spectrum and they're trying to find love. It's very endearing, actually.
It's wholesome.
It's very wholesome. You want some wholesome,
but it's
content?
It's funny to watch, but it's wholesome.
Yes, it is.
There's a British show called The Specials. That's kind of the same way that I was watching on, and one of them it's just a house full of nothing but people
who are autistic. Yeah,
but they have like chaperones.
Yeah.
And one of them wanted to go to I saw it today. Wanted to go to a ladyboy show. Like a Thailand like ladyboy show.
Yeah.
And everybody was trying to tell him like, dude, they're guys. He's like, no, they're sexy. He goes, you're wrong. And he was like, no, he goes, you're just being rude. Like, it is like, all right. He goes, but what are you going to do if you find out you go there and they actually are men? He goes, I'm going to be fuming.
Like, I'm going to be fuming.
But it shows it. He goes to the show and he's watching. He's like, see, they're sexy. I told you. And then suddenly one of the men takes off the makeup, takes off the dress, and he's wearing a suit underneath. And then he sings like in a man's voice. And his face was...
He's like, what the fuck?
Yeah. And then the sexy topless dancers come back out, and he's like, "Yeah!" It's just watching the range of emotion was like good. So I know what you're talking about.
That's the one part of the Hangover 2 that I think is so funny when they go to the little bar. It was so beautiful. We
could, same time. What's the song though? It's like making love in not Chinatown, Lady Town.
It's so good. But yeah, he's like, "Oh, you're so beautiful. You were crying. It was so beautiful."
Yeah.
Oh, okay, we're done.
So
we can't go anymore. I just can't.
This is gonna get so R-rated.
Yeah. So, God. Anyway, as always, leave a 5-star rating. Share the show with a friend, or tell us we suck. Leave a thumbs down. I don't care. Just do something. Okay.
Sound desperate.
Share the show with your friends. Hit the notification bell. Find us on Apple, Spotify for the podcast version, and we'll see you when we see you.
Later.